Good morning. This week we are looking at unforced rhythms. In Matthew 11:28 to 30 in the Message, Jesus says this: Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Here Jesus is saying we need to learn something. He's saying we need to learn the unforced rhythms of grace, which means that I might need to learn something. Have you ever seen the lazy river at those water parks where people get into a tube and then they allow the river just to take them around in a big loop? The only effort it takes is to get in. And I've often seen people who are trying to get out and they go past the steps and then they struggle to get out. And they're taking a whole bunch of effort going against the current instead of just staying in the lazy tube and letting the river bring them around again. And I think there are many people who are struggling trying to get out of something rather than allowing God to teach them to access the unforced rhythms of grace. In Hebrews 12, it says that we need to be careful that we've fallen short of the grace of God. The grace of God we're talking about here is the ability of God, where God is enabling me. And it says when I don't access the grace of God, it says be careful that a root of bitterness doesn't spring up and defile me and many other people. We become bitter because we are trying to get things done in our own strength rather than relying on the grace of God or the ability of God to affect our hearts. We live from our hearts and we need to be believing the truth of what God has done through His Son Jesus Christ. For me to access the life of God, I need to be accessing His grace. In Romans 5, verse 17 in the Amplified Version, it says this: If because of one man's trespass or lapse or offense, death reigned through that one, much more surely will those who receive God's overflowing grace, His unmerited favor, and the free gift of righteousness, putting them into right standing with Himself, reign as kings in life through the one man, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed One. He's saying, man, for me to reign in life like a king, I've got to access the abundant grace of God and the gift of righteousness. Friends, what we need to learn to access the unforced rhythms of grace is we need to learn that we have been made the righteousness of God and we have His ability, His grace available to us, and all we need to do is access it. Get into the river of life of what Jesus Christ came to do. Just like Adam led us to death, Jesus is leading us to life. Friends, I want to encourage you. Learn the unforced rhythm of grace, the ability of God. Access His ability rather than your own today. Always remember, you are highly favored and deeply loved of God.